Hey everybody, it is Colette Baron-Reid. Oh boy, we're here for our 21 tarot card reading for the month of May, and we have a total mixed bag this month. Now, how I do this reading, I've been doing 21 card readings for like 30 years. I used to make a living doing this specific spread. And I like it because I see stories that kind of like weave themselves through the different cards. And I read them in sections. So I read these, I read the square, I look in the center. And sometimes I skip a card until the end and then it starts to make sense to me. So don't try to figure it out, but I know what it is. So I always pray before I do these readings. I just say like, show me the highest good. And then I look for the card. I just see what is drawing me. And this time what's drawing my eyes is the center three cards. And I think this is the theme for the month. And it's beautiful because it's justice, and justice that comes from an epiphany and what is sacred. These are very, very positive cards that show the potential for something big, abrupt. It's like the planet Uranus that plays a big role off and on throughout the year, where it's like anything can happen and probably will. And it's this sense of like, oh, wow, something comes out of the blue that brings us back into what is sacred for all of us. And so I really love this as the underlying theme for May, given that May is kind of a mixed bag again. And I do think that when I've actually looked back at the readings that I've done for the year, and I can really see how it's reflected a lot of our hope streams and our attitudes, but not necessarily what's on the ground. So I'm really looking for a relationship this month to what is true and what's the energy that we're dealing with and how are we actually working with that energy. And so we come into May slightly exhausted. So that Seven of Pentacles up here, it's like, oh, we've worked so hard. Now we have like, do I pick this one? Do I pick that one? Again, we come into this month with choice. Like, what choice am I going to make? I've worked so hard to get here. When I flank it, the 2 sevens, I love seven's a mystical number, right? So whenever I see this card, this tends to look at what is illusory, but it's also not just castles in the air, it's the right use of imagination. So we really can put our imaginations together this month. And I believe that what I'm seeing in here is that imagination will take us out of a stalemate in some way that we've been sitting there unable to move. We've got a blindfold on, we're kind of tired, whatever. So this really shows us this kind of like, okay, how do we get out of this? So this innovation, this concept of innovation, and why am I saying this for this card? It's because it is in relation to the sun. And having this, it wouldn't have been that way if this wasn't there, just so you know, right? So the sun brings vitality. And the sun is saying, okay, if you rely on me and understanding what does vitality feel like, how do I take care of myself? And again, some of you may disagree with me on this, but it's, what medical choices am I making? Some of you are into vaccination, some of you are not. I don't really care. It's like everybody's entitled, but it's the sense of how am I taking care of myself and my family? And also, what are the more innovative ways that I can do that? This tells us we're fried. Like, oh, already, are we already? Are we there yet? This is the Are We There Yet month of May. This is new ideas, fresh ideas, but I always sometimes when I see the Page of Swords in the relationship to that, I'm like, it's kind of like the little pissed off person, like I'm tired, like I want to know, when am we getting there? But here, where this is in this cluster of cards, it also tells us in the first 2 weeks of May, right? This is the first 2 weeks, second 2 weeks, a little bit better, but first 2 weeks, it's like, okay, now what? It's a sense of now what? And it's disappointment. So I do think that there's going to be a level of expectation that wasn't met. Now, that said, it is about addressing our expectations. I've talked about this a lot. I talked about this a lot at the beginning of the pandemic, way back when I was doing the daily morning woos on Facebook, for example, and Instagram. When there was this concept of the Stockton, I think it was called Admiral Stockton, he talked about the paradox of being optimistic and hanging your optimism on a form, and how it really messed up the prisoners in the prisoner of war camp in Hanoi. It was called the Hanoi Hilton, because when he was asked, like, was it your optimism? Weren't you optimistic? He said, no, we held on to hope, but not hope for a specific thing. We just knew one day. And that's the thing, is that we can be disappointed if an expectation isn't met, but if we could see what is there in terms of an intangible hope, it's better. So it's a sense of, don't hold yourself hostage to an expectation of a specific thing. And it's really a sense of, we need to go with the flow. The good news is we're going to be okay, because these cards, the Chariot, the Lovers, and the Sun, are the mitigators for anything that could be negative. It's really more our mental state that we can have a say over how we think, and then the emotions that go along with those thoughts. We can catch them before they become problematic. What I like about this is that out of disappointment comes new ideas, right? New ideas for business, for example. So you have opportunities that come out of the need for things to change, right? So that's also very good. Environmentally, it looks like we're also moving away from the more problematic behaviors, et cetera. This could be, we could be hearing news about different environmental inventions or things like that. I won't know because it hasn't happened yet. We're gonna have to see what happens the first 2 weeks of May. But I'm really liking this, even though, look, it's a mixed bag. We're not, whoopee, oh boy, this is so great. No, but it is saying, you know what? If we can shift and recognize we are going to be victorious over this for sure, we have choices to make, and the 2 pages are here. These are things that are new. New beginnings are possible for us, and also a new beginning that is happier, a little bit happier as well too, once we deal with our failed expectations. So mind your expectations the first 2 weeks of May, and kind of just go with the flow, stay in the now, stay in the day. Again, we go back to the main theme. So we like this theme. This month of May shows evidence that movement is possible, justice is possible for the many, for systems to change, etc. These are discussions, because this is the highest good. So that means we may not have done it yet, but the sacred conversations are happening everywhere. And I'm talking everywhere. So this is a good thing. And again, what does that mean? So when this card shows up in the center, it's all about coming together in alignment. So what's not working and what is working, and not focusing on only what's not working. It's about movement towards what can work, right? And we don't know 100% what that is, but this is really hopeful. Now, the second couple weeks of May start with the lowest point. And so when the Ten of Swords comes, we've hit bottom. Like, I can't do this anymore. That kind of feeling of like, But these are really good, because the Judgment card with the King of Wands is like, hey, we've got energy from this. We don't have to repeat the past if we don't want to. This is really about, what? This totally didn't work. And really getting where if you put your energy in things like your resentments or like rehashing things from the past, etc., you're spilling your energy. And this is saying, oh, you know what? You're starting to get that that's not going to work. Drinking poison, hoping somebody else is going to get sick from it, is only hurting you. So this is also about that. We tend to see this again. People are uncomfortable, and nothing is back to normal, and likely it will never go back to what we knew. And I think people are starting to realize their grief is coming forward and saying like, wow, right. So what is the new thing? What is it? And there's also, when these cards come together, it's like the FU, the FU cards. Like there's the devil, there's the Ace of Wands and the King of Wands, and I'm the rebel. I'm like the mystical pirate going, I'm done. So there's going to be a lot of that too. And it's fiery energy, and you need that fiery energy to change. Now, although, the month of May is Taurus, it's very grounded. It's a very grounded time. And at the end, we go into Gemini, but this is like lots of energy in this very grounded place for actual real change. But it's got integrity, right? We can touch it. We can touch it. This is kind of interesting. I talked about this before. when I did the first 6 months where we talked about currencies, and I didn't realize it. And I looked back at the reading for the 6 months, and actually I didn't realize that what that was talking about was like the Bitcoin, that kind of cryptocurrency stuff. So there looks here, and again, we're going to see if this is true or not, but there could be some losses in digital coin. So when I see that, it's like, ooh, that may not be so good. So it's kind of like pie in the sky. So if it, how about this? If it sounds too good to be true, it is. So just beware of that in the last 2 months of May around investments, right? So it looks pie in the sky a little bit, anyway, that's just what I'm coming to, and the reason I'm going, it's digital, it's the amount of swords. Were you going to say something, Mark?
Yeah, last 2 weeks.
Didn't I say that?
No, you said last 2 months.
2 weeks. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, thank you, Mark. You know what I mean. Last 2 weeks. It gets very complicated, these 21 cards. The other thing is a lot of really beautiful art. It's like a really the last 2 weeks of May is a resurgence of a new art form. So we may find, music changes, like the way music is recorded, or we hear different styles of music, or new artists come forward, etc., that have messages that are meaningful because it relates again to these cards here. So we'll have to see, but this is a time to really get creative. So for those of you who are artistically inclined, this is actually a really good creative time for you the last 2 weeks of May. And also a really great time to launch something new at the end of the month. Not so much in the beginning of the month, but it looks like the last 2 weeks looks nice too, because the world is there, and we move out of that stalemate through our imagination, our intuition, etc. So again, mixed bag, no matter what week, what day we're looking at in May, there's a little bit of a yay and a little a sense of like, this is so great. No, it's not really. And so for me, it reminds me that we all have to be very careful not to see the certainty in the outer world as a means to tell us if we're okay or not, the certainty or the lack of certainty, right? Because there is a tendency to want the outer world to all of a sudden be okay, for us to be okay. And it's reminding us, if we do that, it's not going to work. So there has to be, it really is that inside job is number one, and then we can handle pretty much anything that comes our way. I really do think too that the big picture concept is about mortality. When obviously we've lost so many people in the pandemic, and the social justice movement in America is the biggest, and it's spilled over in all kinds of countries. And we're looking at things from a very different lens right now, that we are seeing that we need to change in so many different areas. And more people are coming to the table saying, yes, I'm ready, but what do we do? So it's also super, super important to recognize that we're going to make mistakes. We're going to, like 10 steps forwards, 2 steps back, fall on your face, get up again and dance, right? So it's going to go like that a little bit. So we can't expect instant certainty and that, oh, wow, the outer world is good now. I'm okay. I don't have to do any changing. I don't have to transform or do anything like that. I don't think it's that painful. Looking at this too, the painful quality is removing yourself from what was and getting on board with the kind of the rafts that we're floating on, because we're not there yet. And this part, the in-between, is where the sacred moments are, where we see ourselves stretched between what was and what will be and what could be. And that could be peace is where our imaginations could really take us in a very positive way, if we remember also that compassion is crucial. And that's the Knight of Cups as well, the sense of bringing love and seeing the cup and saying, here is my chalice, let's all drink from it. This could be really good. Okay, that's it, guys. 21 card spread reading for May is done, and I'm going to see you next time. YouTubers, subscribe to my channel if you want to see this 21 card predictive reading every single month. It's so good. And don't forget to leave a comment. We love to see your comments, and like the video too, because that's really important to us as well. Love you so much, and see you next time.